It's a strange feeling, trying to decide how to begin something you've already rehearsed 1,000 times in your head. It's taken me longer than I care to admit to get here. Not here as in this upload. Not here as in this specific video. But here, as in this version of myself. The one who finally pressed record and didn't delete it 3 months later. I went back and forth on how I should start this. Do I do the whole proper introduction? Full government name, context, and the polite clearing of the throat? Or do I just step into it and hope whoever's listening keeps walking with me for a minute? I landed on the second option, mostly because I know well enough through repeated trials that the first few views on this will probably come from me refreshing the page, hoping someone else showed up. For almost a decade, I've been circling this very moment, orbiting the idea of creating, convincing myself I was preparing. I guess what I really wanted was an excuse to mark the distance between where I thought I'd be and where I'm actually standing. It's been 9 years since I first said the words out loud. I want to start a YouTube channel. I said it with the gravity of someone announcing they were going to the moon. That's a really long time to carry a sentence around without turning it into something real. 9 years of ideas scribbled into notepads, half-formed pitches I sent to friends late at night, handed out blueprints and conversations during gaming sessions, hoping someone would say, "Let's build it together." Because the unspoken truth, the quiet, embarrassing core of it, was that I was terrified of building it alone. I wanted a co-conspirator, someone to share the blame if the walls looked a little crooked, and some of them slightly nodded, not so convinced. Some were just as excited as I was. "Yeah, man, that's cool. We should totally do that." Some really meant it. We would sketch out plans, from vlogging, podcasting, reaction channels, to gaming. We'd name the channel in the group chats. We'd divide up hypothetical roles. It felt real for a moment, a shared delusion of future grandeur. But then, life happened. Time had other plans. Life scattered us in different directions. One friend got a real job. Another moved far away. The other just evaporated into the soft static of adulthood. The group chats went quiet. The napkin blueprints were thrown away with the coffee cups. Conversations slowed. The energy faded. And the excitement dimmed. Until one day I realized I was the only one still holding onto the idea. A souvenir from a trip no one else remembered taking. So I waited, hoping for a sign, for the stars to align, for a permission slip from the universe, for the right moment, where confidence shows up on time, where fear politely excuses itself. I mistook preparation for progress, but life doesn't really work like that. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, "Okay, you're ready now." So, I finally made a decision. It felt small, but heavy at the same time. No more waiting. No more pitching ideas that die quietly in the group chats. If this was going to happen, it had to be because I chose it. Not because someone gave it validation. And definitely not because the timing was perfect. I saved up, bought myself a computer, a camera, and a microphone. Shiny relics that I arranged on my desk like tokens of unrealized potential. This is it, no more excuses, I said to myself. That was 2 years ago. The tokens now gather a fine layer of rust. And what do I have to show for it? A graveyard of deleted takes. A folder labeled recordings, filled with videos of me staring, mute, into the lens. 40 seconds of me clearing my throat. Then a cut to black. Over this period, this dream has worn more costumes than I can count. I have reshaped it, rebranded it, reimagined it, over and over again, each time trying to manufacture something that looked like success. I've spent nights staring at analytics like they were sacred texts, whispering quiet prayers to an algorithm I barely understood, uploading videos crafted not from conviction, but from calculation. What does the world want? What is trending? What niche travels fastest? Motivational videos, reaction videos, watch-alongs, live streaming, the occasional temptation for cat and dog compilations, clips engineered in hopes of going viral. I thought about it all, and somewhere in the back of my mind, I'd convinced myself that if this works, if one of these blows up, then I'll finally do what I actually want to do, which was never any of that. What I wanted, from the very beginning, to share my own journey, my thoughts, my reflections, my travels, the quiet monologues that visit me in the middle of the night. But I kept postponing that dream behind strategy. I told myself I was being smart, tactical, patient. In reality, I was negotiating with fear. I've rewritten myself more times than I've rewritten scripts. I studied creators who were thriving, watched their pacing, their tone, their structure. Sometimes I drew inspiration. Other times, if I'm being totally honest, I just blatantly copied their work. I tried wearing their voices like my own, a jacket that didn't quite fit, because they were getting views, because it was working for them. I thought maybe success was hidden in imitation. Somewhere along the way, I started confusing resonance with replication. Terabytes worth of content that will never see the light of day. Drafts, audio files, edited timelines, rendered thumbnails, entire versions of myself, archived and abandoned. Some recordings didn't make it because my voice sounded strange to me that day. Not deep enough, not smooth, not majestic enough, not quite YouTube ready. I'd listen back and hear flaws magnified. I was chewing on words. My tongue felt heavy. My voice caught, like it forgot how to leave my body. My breath sounded awkward between sentences. The mic wasn't good enough. The neighbor was too loud. The room wasn't treated. I should have recorded at night. Then night would come, and I'd convince myself I couldn't be too loud. It needed to be perfect. Perfect enough to impress strangers. Polished enough not to embarrass myself. Elevated enough not to be cringe to people who know me in real life. I knew what I wanted to say. I knew why. I had the tools right in front of me. And still, every time I sat down to record, my mind would blank. So I'd bargain with myself. Maybe tomorrow. A harmless phrase. Comforting even. Except tomorrow has come and gone. More times than I'd like to admit. Tomorrow is a paradise full of potential where everything is possible. And therefore, nothing is required. But hindsight has a way of stripping excuses down to their bones. I wasn't waiting for better equipment. I wasn't waiting for silence. I wasn't even waiting for skill. I was scared that no one would care, that no one would listen. Scared that I would pour years of quiet thought into something, only to be met with silence. And silence is heavy when the thing you're sharing is personal. And I think, eventually, the thing that scared me the most was not failing, not embarrassing myself, but waking up one day and realizing this dream didn't die. It just faded, turned into a story I tell myself about something I almost did, something I wanted badly enough to imagine, but not bravely enough to try. Here's the strange part, though. I was never the shy type. I could probably perform a Beethoven symphony in front of a large crowd without flinching. Spotlight, stage lights, pressure. That doesn't terrify me. But this, pressing a record button in a quiet room, that felt like kryptonite. It confused me for a long time. Why was this harder than performing? Why did this feel more vulnerable than public exposure? And only recently did I understand why. It was, and still is, hard, because it matters to me. When something is casual, rejection is light. When something is experimental, criticism glances off. But when something carries pieces of your interior life, your private thoughts, your philosophy, your evolving identity, dislike feels surgical. It isn't about going viral anymore. It's about being seen. And being seen without armor is a different kind of courage. Somewhere in all the strategizing, rebranding, and chasing metrics, I lost sight of why I wanted this in the first place. It was about documentation, to create things both the younger and older versions of me would be proud of. A timestamp, a record of how I thought, how I sounded, what I believed in during this season of my life. To hear my own evolution, to look back years from now and say, this is who I was. This is what kept me up that one night. This is how I processed the world. I think there's something sacred about creating without needing immediate proof that it matters. About writing, saying, or doing something, and knowing that even if no one clicks on it, it was true to you in that moment. The feeling you have after finishing a piece you were writing, leaning back in your chair thinking, yeah, I nailed that. So this, right now, is me returning to that origin. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but honestly, shaped by who and where I am, something future me can stumble upon. And remember, this was the season I stopped orbiting and finally landed. This was the moment I chose expression over perfection, meaning over metrics, truth over trend. And if silence comes with that, at least it will be met by the real me. And that, somehow, feels lighter than applause built on imitation.